So welcome everyone. This is Aurav Gupta. I'm the CEO of Edorer, and welcome to the second edition of this Data Science and Business Analyst Masterclass series. Yesterday we had a great session. Today we have Ritwik Bhriguvanshi with us. He's a senior business analyst with Amazon, and he has seen it all. He is somebody who's so willing to share his own story, how he started his journey when he didn't know anything about business analysis or data science and whatnot. And today he is a very successful senior business analyst with Amazon. And you guys understand what goes in and out at Amazon. It's a massive mammoth #1 organization in the world when it comes to e-commerce. There are so many decisions, so many analysis, such huge analysis, which is done on the basis of data. What you buy, how you buy, what you're going to click, what you're not going to click, consumer behavior, to your buying preferences, everything is analyzed, and that is massive data. Of course, Ritwik handles one or the other specific functions, but then at the end of the day, you understand that this is one of the uh, real life applications of what you will learn when you actually build your skill in data science or business analytics. Okay, so quickly, let me share my screen and introduce our speaker today officially. I'm sure everybody would have seen this on our masterclass page as well. Yes, I'm sure you can. Can you confirm, Ritwik? You can see my screen?
Yep, all good, man.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, so we have Ritwik Bhriguvanshi with us. He's passionate about business analytics, and he has been mentoring students and young professionals like you on their journey to learn data science and analytics. He is currently a senior business analyst at Amazon. He studied MS in business analytics from the University of Tennessee, USA. He is a multilingual, passionate, futuristic data professional with emphasis on statistical modeling, data science, financial analytics, business development, and client relations. That's a very important aspect of business analysis. We'll talk about it. Storytelling with data, such an important thing. He is a former MSBA graduate and NCAA student athlete with experience of developing and leading diverse teams in competitive environments. He has an extensive experience in and use of data visualization, analysis techniques, and statistical programming with complementing relationship and communication skills. And of course, we will witness all of that today. He is definitely a role model and loved mentor, and which is why he's part of this boot camp. He is also going to be one of your trainer mentor for this boot camp that we are planning with you guys in Singapore and Malaysia and Amsterdam and Berlin, 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online. And he, along with others, is going to be one of the trainer mentors for this bootcamp. He has conducted many workshops and has overseen coursework and projects for many aspiring business analysts. So he is definitely the go-to person when we really want to kickstart our journey. He is the mentor that we definitely aspire to learn from and become one so that we can excel in our own journey too. So with that note, I'll also quickly tell you what's going to be the format of today's masterclass. We will have a riddle session. Ritwik, do you have a presentation today?
Yeah, we have some slides to go over.
Okay, wonderful. So Ritwik will have a little presentation, talk about himself, talk about his journey, talk about key essentials of business analytics and data science. And after that, we will be open to Q&A, which is the most exciting part. Be very enthusiastic. Ask as many questions as you have, be it as simple or easy that may sound, or as complex or anything, whichever level of your journey you are in. Please feel free to ask questions. You can raise your hands. You can also ask questions in the chat. You can also comment in the chat so that we know what everybody is thinking. And you can also ask your question in the Q&A. We will make sure that we pick each and every question before this masterclass ends. So guys, I'm really excited about this, just like you. And Ritwik, the platform is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the great intro, and thank you everyone for joining. So I think to make this more interactive, like I'm gonna go over some slides, go over my journey, and then how to get into business analytics, data science, all of that good stuff, basically. giving you a roadmap of like how to get into this field, how to ace interviews, how to network, and all of that nature which comes with the business analytic role family. Uh, so I'll go over the slides. We can do Q&A first. If we have time left, we can also go over a case study. I also have a case study which we can go over. So what I worked on with while I was a student. So as Saurabh mentioned, I did not have any business analytics background going into this field. My undergraduate is in accounting, with a minor in math and IT. So my undergraduate degree had nothing to do with analytics, and I had no coding or no programming background before that. Uh, so with that, let me actually share my screen, and then we can go with this. Star, can you enable screen sharing?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Okay, let me know when you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so a little bit about me. My first 18 years of my life I spent in Patna. So I'm originally from Patna. I actually grew up there. I did my high school and my middle school, everything from DPS Patna. And I was very fascinated by playing tennis early on in my career. So at 8 or 9 years old, I started playing tennis. My dad actually put me into a tennis academy. And my life was pretty simple. You go to the school in the morning, finish off school, go to the tennis court, play tennis, come back, and then start studying for and then prepare for the next day. So I really got into tennis, started playing competitive tennis. Around 17, 18 years of age, I was actually ranked one of the top 50 players in India, which actually earned me a tennis scholarship to come and play and study in the US. So in 2015, I moved to South Carolina. There's a small college called Erskine College did my uh, where I did my undergraduate degree in accounting. So I started my undergraduate program in 2015, uh, where I had a lot of mentors, and like my team was there. We had a tennis team of 8 to 10 players, approximately from 7 different countries. So, and you see this picture on the top left. This was the first tournament I won back in 2015 in the US. And this is my doubles partner who I played with. He's from Portugal, and we still are pretty good friends right now. So essentially, I came here, started playing tennis, competing. Was in a very team environment, and I'm going to talk about that how being in a team environment actually is going to help you in the field of analytics, and further on in your career. 2019, I finished my undergraduate degree. This picture at the bottom left is from my undergraduate degree where I graduated. Straight after my undergraduate program, I went to Haslam College of Business. This picture on the bottom right. This is from University of Tennessee, so it's one of the business schools there, which offers analytics and MBA programs. So I enrolled in analytics program and obtained my uh, Master of Science in Business Analytics. During that program, I had to do an internship, and I actually interned with Dell Technologies in Round Rock, Texas. Uh, Post finishing my master's degree, I moved to Amazon, where I've been working as a business analyst for the last 3 years now. Next month is going to be my 3 year. So, or in fact, later this month is going to be my third year. Other than that, like I like hiking. Do a lot of mountains here. Uh, so any hike which comes up, I'm ready for it. And then I also like to mentor students. So I'm currently also on the board for University of Tennessee, where in the alumni program, where I'm mentoring current students there in the analytics program. Also helping them to like break into industry, get their first entry level roles in business analytics, basically connecting peers, helping them with internships and all that kind of stuff. Okay, enough about me. Now let's dive into analytics. Okay, so why should you pursue business analytics or analytics data science in general? These are all common terms which are being used in the industry right now, but relate to one to each other. And as I go through this presentation, I'm going to distinguish between what is data engineering, what is data science, what is business analytics, what is program management. Like those 4 or 5 segments are pretty close, but there are still like few distinctions which distinct one job family from the other. Uh, so it's a very growing field right now, especially in the technology industry. You see like Amazon being in general, like data for us is very prevalent. Customer behavior, supply chain technologies, AWS, you name it. Like data is the epitome of success here. And interestingly, the demand for business analytics right now in the market is more than what students are like graduating, and like there's always open roles. So even if you go on the Amazon.com job portal right now, or you go on any tech platform right now, you'll find 40, 50 plus jobs just based on one single location. And when you do the math and multiply it by different geographical locations where the company is present, there are humongous opportunities in terms of just analytics. And once you get into analytics, uh, your pathway basically opens towards uh, all the other fields or all the other sectors which you can do. You can go into consulting, you can go into engineering, you can go into management. You can be a manager where you're managing a team of business analysts or BI engineers. So the path is really, really big. There's a lot of scope. Of course, it depends on the size of the company, but the scope and demand for analytics is only going to grow. With Gen AI and Chat GPT coming into the market right now, a lot of buzz is around like this is going to replace a lot of jobs. But in all true domain, or uh, in all true fashion, that is not going to really happen in the near future, because you need people to solve business problems and like collaborate with each other. That's why I come to my second point here. Like data is the most important asset in 21st century. If you ask any company right now, whether it is small or big, they are big on data warehousing. They want to store all the data which they're getting from the customers, from the clients, from vendors. Each of them they want to make sure is being stored in a usable format so that it can be used going forward. For the company. So they want to derive insights out of it and make sure actionable recommendations can be put forward towards senior managers, directors, and leadership, so the company can see what to do and generate more revenue out of it. Uh, Interestingly, even small companies right now, especially in the US job market, small companies are also pretty big on data. Like they have a whole data team which is set up just to do the data infrastructure, maintain the daily warehousing, and basically create also like data security platform. So as much as we love data, we need to have data governance and security so our customer information is not being leaked. It's some of the information is like government data which we don't want to give to our competitors. So all of that, like ranging from like small to medium to big companies, all of them have a data segment or a data team which is handling their day-to-day operations. Now, in a big company like Amazon, you can have hundreds of data teams. In a small startup with like 20 people, you can have one single data team or two different data people who are just doing their uh, day-to-day operations. But long story short, I think the point I want to get across is that no matter like which company, which role you land up to, or what you want to do with the field of analytics, and no matter with the size of the company, data is only going to become important, and you need people to process it, get meaningful insights out of it, and present it in terms of actionable recommendations to stakeholders. Uh, Data literacy is also pretty important. This becomes pretty important, and I have a slide on storytelling which I'm going to cover. Uh, with the importance of data literacy is that the upper management or your boss or like the people who are making the decisions, they don't really care about what analytics you are doing. They just care about the impact what you can drive with that data. So you have a data, you're going to process it, you're going to pre-process it, then do some analytics with it, apply techniques, get recommendations, and present that. But at the end of the day, that recommendations has to translate into business value and impact. And that can be measured in a lot of KPIs. KPIs means key performance indicators that could be like additional revenue for the company, additional customers, acquisition of new market, uh, expansion to different domains, market basket analysis, which is a very big one right now. So suppose if a customer is going to a supermarket and they suppose they buy milk, what are the other options? What are the other groceries they are buying with milk? And companies are using that type of data to basically do placement in stores. So suppose if milk and banana, for example, has a very high correlation, the supermarket is using all those analytics to do placement inside the store to drive sales. So things of that nature, basically, like understanding what data actually means, what is pre-processed data, what is numerical data, what is qualitative data, and how you can use that to in your day-to-day world. It's very, very important to basically define those business problems. Uh, this is an interesting slide I put together, seeing how much data is getting processed each day. And you can see like it's humongous. 328 billion gigabytes of data is getting generated each day across the globe. Uh, and these are data which is being used by the companies. Uh, this is company related data basically, which means like companies are generating this amount of data across different domains, and they want to use all of this uh, for their planning, for the operational planning, supply chain planning, 3-year plan, 5-year plan, like anything which comes with business operations and future planning. They want to use this going forward, and this number is huge. Like I can't even process this number in my head right now because it's really, really big. Anyway, so how do you get into analytics? So now we know analytics is pretty cool. We are very fascinated about it, but how do you break into this field? Number one, you don't need any technical background to do analytics. In my graduate program, more than 50% of the people did not have any technical background. They were coming from English literature degrees, uh, arts degrees, sociology degrees, and of course, like some part of them were coming from also math and engineering degrees. But greater than 50% of my cohort, I think, did not have any technical background, had no coding experience, has no programming has no exposure to programming. Uh, but right now, if I talk to all of them are placed and doing some sort of analytics in different companies, whether it is of big or large scale or whatever, but they are involved in analytics in some sort of way. So there's a big myth in the industry, not in the industry, but in academia, I would say, uh, that you need a technical background to break into the field of analytics. And from my experience, from my colleagues' experience, from the people I still talk at University of Tennessee, I know that is not true. So people from all background, whatever technical knowledge, whatever educational knowledge you have, are very, very welcome into the field of analytics. And there is no set code like, okay, you have to like have some sort of prior prerequisites to only enter this market. Uh, and gradually, as we talk, we are also moving to an era of minimal coding requirements. So with the launch of Gen AI, generative AI, a lot of questions, a lot of doubts can be cleared with minimal amount of coding, basically. What generative AI is doing in our world right now is basically taking data sets, naming it in a way where it can be easily accessible and readable through questions. And once that is put into production, or production environment, the end customer can basically type a question and then get an answer. uh, that's going to become more and more prevalent. But to get to that level, business analysts and people and analytics professionals need to understand how to use data and how to name them, how to do naming convention, how to make different types of tables in your database where one can interact with each other and basically output answers for the questions that the end customer is asking. One thing which you do need to get into the field of analytics is problem solving. This field is all about like taking problems, breaking it into small steps, and solving it. It will keep you on your toes. You think one day you might be very close to the final answer, and the next day you think you'll get something completely opposite. So the knack of problem solving is pretty important, because it's only going to become uh, more and more complex because more and more data is out there. So people want all sorts of data, but with more data you need to train yourself, you need to be more competent to handle that. And that only comes with like breaking the problem into small steps and solving one by one, and then basically doing an end-to-end project. Okay, so next one, what is the business analyst tech stack right now? So I put a few softwares and programming languages, which is very prevalent in the market right now. And a lot of professionals are using it. And the Adorer Bootcamp is also uh, revolved around these programming languages. So you don't need to know all of this, but you need to know 2, 3 of this. And you don't even need to master 2, 3 of this, but you should know enough about 2, 3 of these languages, one visualization software, and basically 2 other languages here, where you are able to use that in a day-to-day environment when you go towards a business analyst role. Not all companies will use the same tech stack. That is why I said you have to diversify and make sure you have at least two to three programming languages and like enough knowledge about it. So depending on industry you go, the company you go, you can use one of them or 2 of them or multiple of them to solve problems. So advanced Excel is pretty important. Goes on without saying. Basic Excel, like it's a requirement for any job at this point of time, not even in the field of analytics. When you go into like advanced analytics, you're talking about macros, VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, uh, basically anything which is more complex than making a pivot table. So making that, doing all that type of like summations, understanding how like formula works, how you can reference one table to the other and use formulas in Excel, automate that sheet, protect a sheet, lock a sheet. All of that is pretty important in Excel. Uh, SQL. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Uh, this is probably the most important skill you would need in business analytics. Uh, this is the first step where analytics professionals are fetching data from a warehouse through writing structured query and basically getting the data, pre-processing it, dealing it with missing values, outliers, all of that, before the data is passed on to the next customer. And the next customer here can be my end customer, can be a data scientist, can be a data engineer, can be an applied scientist, software engineer, anybody. Like once the data is fetched, data is clean, processed, then it's passed on to the next layer. But there's a lot of IDEs or database which is supported by SQL. T-SQL is one of them. MySQL is one of them. Then you have PostgreSQL. But the concept around all these is the same. It's basically like understanding what clauses, what is the order of operations, how everything is done in SQL, basically to uh, process data and aggregate it at a certain level. Also, this is a very important skill in terms of data engineering, because a lot of data architecture and warehouse is based around SQL. So like creating tables, inserting values into the tables, dealing with missing values, having quality controls, having checks, having measures, all of that comes with SQL, writing stored procedures to make sure everything is fine. If anything goes, if any downstream tables are getting affected, having the right quality control and measures to make sure uh, the data is accurate, essentially. So very, very important skill for any analytics professional, any data engineering, data science professional. Uh, this is the first step where you will get your data. Getting the data is the most important stuff before you can do data science models, machine learning models, and anything with that. So once you've mastered SQL, then you can pick and choose either one of them, R or Python. Python is more preferred in the industry. R is more preferred in the academia right now. A lot of companies have started to use R. Both of them are free open source programming languages. And there's a lot you can do in Python or R. Like there's different packages, different libraries. You can do visualizations. You can do machine learning models, uh, train data sets, clean data sets. This is just one layer above SQL. So more complex data which you have, which cannot be done through a query, which cannot be done through like a normal uh, if and when select statement, basically. So anything which is more complex requires processing of millions of rows, takes additional runtime. All of that can be processed in R and Python. The reason why I mentioned about runtime is because once you grow into the field of analytics, you will be dealing with more and more data, and bias for action or time becomes a very big critical factor in making decisions. So processing that big amount of data in a short time is only going to become important as you deal with more uh, with more and more data. The next one I mentioned is SAS and Jump. So JMP is also pretty good software which allows you to do data analytics. It's not really prevalent right now in the industry because of the licensing cost. Uh, it's uh, it's relatively on the expensive side right now, so companies don't really want to spend money on it. Uh, but in the banking and healthcare industry, SaaS is still being used right now. It's getting obsolete day by day. It's a lot of new companies don't want to use it, but it's still prevalent in some of the banking industries. Uh, Ultrix is another very good example of data engineering and analytics where you can develop basically your workline and workflows through basically clicks. So instead of writing any programming language, you can just do normal processing through just doing clicks. So again, the concept of minimal coding comes into here. Like no coding experience is required. You don't need to know anything about like how building pipelines, what is a fact table, what is a dimension table. None of that knowledge is required in Alteryx because it's doing all that work for you. But as an analytics professional, you need to know how to use it and how to apply business problems to it. Amazon Web Services is another big one. Uh, the reason why I say that is because storage is becoming an important topic day by day. With so much data getting processed, it's very difficult to store it on like a hard drive or your local computer. So Amazon Web Services has a service called S3, uh, and that basically is a cloud bucket where you are storing your data. So you're running models, you're pre-processing data, and all of that data is getting dumped into that S3 bucket, which basically is, and it has security control, so you can restrict access to who can see it and who cannot see it. Uh, a lot of other features come with AWS. There's about 70 plus services with AWS offers. uh, EC2 instance, Lambda. A lot of these are very advanced analytics, which basically means you're creating trigger points for an event to happen. So suppose a customer is ordering on suppose Amazon.com, that creates an instance. which is basically called a trigger point EC2 instance, and then that is triggered into the backend, and then the custom order goes through. So all of that tech is done through right now AWS. And this is just like one example. A lot of companies, a lot of small companies, big companies are using uh, AWS for a lot of things, a lot of marketing campaigns which come out. So you get, if you check your email, you might have like companies sending you out promotion emails, uh, spam emails, or like okay, it's your birthday is coming, so you get a 10% discount on this product. All of that is triggered through automation and AWS services. Uh, Three big visualization software is Power BI, Tableau, QuickSight, very prevalent in the market. Need to know one of them at least as an analytics professional to break into the field. Okay, next slide. So as I mentioned before, it's not all about coding. You need to solve business problems. And as an analytics professional, that's what we are focused on how we can increase customer anticipation, customer requirements. And our customer can be anybody, internal or external. External can be a vendor. Internal can be a senior manager who wants the data for to run their day-to-day operations. Uh, the approach which I like to take is like define the problem statement. So know what you're trying to solve, understand the five W's behind it: who, what, when, where, and why, and try to focus on the why. Like the why is the most important. Like, why are you trying to solve this problem? Is it just because of fun? Is it because this is gonna increase revenue by $1 million, or is it gonna cut down expenses by $500,000? So that why is pretty important, because the more in depth you go, leadership only cares about the business impact and the revenue you are driving for the company. Each project is going to be focused on how much productivity you are basically bringing into that organization. Once you have that, then develop an action plan. Okay, so here's my timeline: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. We're going to do XYZ. Uh, and then stick to that action plan. So week 1, I'm gonna get the data through SQL. Week 2, I'm gonna clean it, deal with missing values. Week 3, I'm gonna make graphs out of it. Week 4, I'm gonna do a PowerPoint presentation in front of 25 different business stakeholders. So that's just an example. Based on the business problem, that action plan needs to be defined. And this can vary based on the project and the team requirements. Gathering and processing pre-data is pretty important, as I mentioned. And then once you perform analytics, you have to find a way to basically present your findings and recommendations to your end customer. Three different types of analytics or technologies, but analytics methods, I should say, rather. The first one is descriptive. A lot of entry-level jobs are only focused towards descriptive analytics, which basically means you're coming into the role, you're given a defined business problem by your manager, and you are basically solving, okay, I will do what's the mean median mode, what's the t-square, what's like this, basically run different statistical tests, statistical analysis on that data set and define that. So exploratory data analysis, EDA, is a very big concept in any statistical course right now, or any statistical modeling course. What that focuses on is basically going to each and every segment of a data set. So each and every column, each and every row, and then finding insights out of it. When you go towards the field of data science, this becomes more important day by day, because you will have a whole variety of data sets. Suppose 100 different columns, for example. The data science or the machine learning model cannot be trained on all the features or all the 100 columns. You need to find a way where you can trim down that 100 columns to the most X number of relevant columns. And that X is defined by running all this exploratory data analysis. This can be done through heat maps, normal correlation plots. A lot of like different statistical techniques can be applied to basically trim this data, where you can use this in modeling. So in an entry level business analyst role, this is very, very important, because on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be using descriptive analytics, making inference out of it, and then presenting it to the next customer. Predictive is like what is going to happen in the future. So like forecasting, like today Amazon stock is $180. What is it going to be 6 months down the line? How much up is going to go, or how much down is going to go? A lot of all companies needs some sort of predictive analytics in terms of their operations, so they can forecast revenue, sales, expense, or anything, like any key performance indicator, KPI, um, can be forecasted through it. And then the next level is basically prescriptive, where you're going one level above predictive, and then identifying like what can we actually put into production, what can be done better, what can be used in next year forecasting cycle, next year planning cycle. Uh, this basically takes like just consider this as like a 3 or 5 year old plan of what a company would take. So going into the business analytics career, like you will start with descriptive, very, very important. You will always use descriptive. So no matter where in your ladder you are, entry level, high level, medium level, wherever you stand, the descriptive analytics will always be important. So it's very important to learn those stats concepts. Very important to learn algebra, calculus. Having like basic understandings about that would be really so. Basically, in any education system, like I also did my. I think most of the audience here is based out of India, and I also did my schooling in India, and the maths which you did from like ninth and 10th, people will ask you, are you going to use this math feature in your career? The answer is yes. You would need that geometry which you did back in the day uh, to have that solve problem techniques and like do descriptive analytics when you come into the field of business analytics. Okay. Next question is my tech skills enough? So we talked about SQL, Python, all types of analytics. Is that going to get you a job? Uh, the real answer is no. Companies are basically hiring you to solve business problems and not do coding, or not basically do uh, run SQL statements, write programming languages. That's a part of your job, but you're basically being hired to solve complex business problems. Whenever a headcount is hired in a company, any organization, the focus is always on return on investment. If I hire this candidate, what is the company getting out of it? Like what projects are they going to deliver in this first 6 months, 12 months, and how much the company is basically going to is going to benefit on this. Uh, in my early career also, I also did not understand the importance of this, but as I grew into my career, like this becomes very, very important, because you want to know on the business impact. What are you driving? What is your what your role is designed towards? And if you think you're not really solving business problems, then I think you should talk to your peer, your mentor, your manager, whoever is overseeing you, basically, to make sure you're on the right track, and then basically helping the business in some sort of way or the other. Uh, Prioritization is key. So the reason why I say that here is a lot of requests will come to your table when you get into the field of analytics. You'll have hundreds of requests, lots of data. At some point of time, you have to understand which one is better than the other, and how you can prioritize one over the other. And it definitely not happens over time, but after after a few days or a few months of training, being in the field of analytics, you will understand which problems to solve first before the next one. Uh, Constant communication with business stakeholders. So making sure your project timelines, updates, everything is being shared with internal and external stakeholders is very, very important. You're doing you are writing all the backend code, you're building out all the graphs, presenting a dashboard to the stakeholders, doing all the cool stuff around analytics. But if you're not communicating the right language, you're not communicating the right message, all your hard work, all your effort for your weeks and months are basically gone. So making sure that art of storytelling is always there, uh, documenting your learnings around the way. So lessons learned. Suppose I'm working on project number one today. I learned these two or three things I should not have done. Those learnings you need to apply to your next project to make sure you're saving that time and delivering projects on time and getting basically more return on the past or historical learnings. So uh, communication is pretty key, and the art of storytelling, presenting in front of stakeholders is very important, because if you think about it, you are doing projects for like a lot of weeks. You only get half an hour in the meeting to present it, and that half an hour is very important, because all your weeks of effort uh, is basically put into that half an hour. So getting the right message across to the customer becomes crucial, uh, as you do and as you keep on performing on projects. Uh, Working as a team is really important. Normally, like, you will not be the only person on your team. Even in a school environment, you have group projects. You go to college, you have group projects. Similarly, at work, we have group projects. So not only one person is responsible to drive an end-to-end project. You want to work with your peers. There's an opportunity to learn from them. Make sure, like, duplication of work is not done. So you're dividing work in a way where uh, it's basically doing a SWOT analysis. What a SWOT analysis means is like strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So uh, in a team, folks understand what are somebody's strengths, what are somebody's weaknesses. So you try to cater the project in a plan where individuals are getting those types of tasks or activities day by day, where they can learn and grow as a team. And of course, like, as you work through the team, learning your key understandings and lessons becomes pretty important. Have touched about this in the one of the previous slides, but importance of storytelling is very important. Like, you have to translate your analysis analytics into recommendations, and this can only be done through writing or speaking. So speaking, as we're doing right now, I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation. This is also being done in the industry. When you have a project, you will be explaining your findings to senior managers, leadership team, and convincing them to make business decisions of all the work you have done. So that comes through, like, speaking. Basically, PowerPoint presentation is a big one there. Also writing. So uh, we have a lot of white papers. What basically means, you have an executive summary, then you go deep dive into that, and then understand like each aspects of the business, and then write content on it. So it can be anywhere between a 2 to a 5 page paper, where you present the executive summary at the top, telling how the company is going to benefit out of this, and then go into steps uh, of like making sure how the project was done, what deliverables did we do, what experiments we ran, uh, what types of recommendations we have, how are we going to benefit in the next 1 year out of this, and what are our lessons learned. So that becomes really important. Also, communicating throughout the project via emails or any other like mechanism. So that can be done through like any shared document where you have with the business stakeholder, making sure you're having the right mechanism of writing emails, so the message across is pretty nice. uh, Visualization through graphs shows like trends. So a lot of trends. Suppose you do a 5-year-old plan, how the companies perform for a period of 5 years. Rather than writing it down, a visual graph or a line graph is very appealing to the customer, because they're able to visualize it and have a picture in their mind. So the any opportunity you get to visualize is pretty key. Um, Focusing on soft skills is there. So coding, doing analytics, Power BI, Tableau visualization is a part of it. But the most important thing which comes out of it is like, how are you going to focus on soft skills and get your message across? And the only way to succeed in that is like practice, practice, and practice. There's no other exception to it. Uh, it only gets better with time. It will only get better with the more and more effort you put into your uh, speaking and writing skills, and then presenting maybe and presenting in front of stakeholders. Okay, so how do you break into analytics? So my feedback here is prioritize learning over any educational degree. So getting a degree or getting any sort of requirements which you need for a job is fine, but your learning should always be prioritized. What that means is that you should have hands-on experience on like projects which you have done in the past or plan to do next on, so that you can show it to a potential employer moving forward. You can tag that project on your resume. When you click on it, uh, the employer can see, okay, this candidate has done these amount of projects. They know how can they excel in the field of analytics. Applying the 80-20 rule, basically 80% of the work is done with like 20% of the stack. Uh, that's what we call the 80-20 rule. So a lot of your analysis and recommendations is already done through like the basic algorithms, basic techniques, analytics techniques which you're running. So uh, the reason why this is important is because to prioritize time and save time. Uh, you will never get 100% satisfaction to an problem. So when you're at the 70-80% mark, that's where you can use inference, basically from analysis you have done to drive conclusions. And this will become important as you process large amount of data. Emphasize learning one programming language at a time. So, for example, don't pick R and Python both together. Try to do one, get better at it. There's no one in the world who can master like completely one of those languages. It's impossible. There's so many little packages, so many different types of things you can do that. So try to pick up one, get better at it. Once you have a good understanding, good foundational thing, then you can pivot towards the other. uh, Constantly doing reviews on Stack Overflow. So suppose you're doing a business project and you are stuck with a problem, you can just go online. Stack Overflow is a very good platform where you can troubleshoot your problems. So suppose you have a coding error, you want to check like why is this SQL query not running? You can go to Stack Overflow and that will give you the answer. We used to do that in graduate school. We still do that at work. It's a very prevalent industry practice. Uh, Develop your own portfolio and participate in capstone projects. This is the hands-on experience I'm talking about. You have to build your own brand, understand like what uh, projects you can do, put it on your resume, put it on your GitHub repository, if you have a GitHub repository, or basically make a platform where you can share it with your peers and with your employers. Seeking feedback and mentorship on projects is pretty important. So once you do a project, share it with people who are experts in the industry, or your mentors or your peers, and try to get like constructive feedback on it. How can you improve? That's the only way you can improve. Once you get feedback from people who have already done that work, it's very important to implement those feedback in the next project so you can build upon it. Networking and connections is also pretty important to get into the field of analytics. We still have an alumni board where we talk about analytics at Tennessee right now. So networking, making sure like you are learning from your alumni contacts, and like making connections in the industry with people of same interest and same passion come together and basically help each other out. Star format rule is what I call the situation, task, action, and result. Uh, this becomes really important when you are interviewing. So for any interview, whether it is an analytics interview or not, does not really matter. The way you should do your response is like, what was the situation you did? What was the situation where you performed the role? What was the task in hand? What actions did you take? And what results did you deliver? Results is basically focused on quantifiable outputs. So like percentage outputs, or like number, you have numbers to basically drive that decision making. Uh, so it becomes really important that when you are interviewing, you prepare your examples in the form of star, and you're able to basically not uh, diverge from the topic, and make sure the interviewer is interested to uh, hear your responses, and also make sure if they have any follow-up questions, it becomes easier for you to respond. So a lot of data sets are available online, which you can start to use your which you can use to build your portfolio and apply different analytics techniques, algorithms uh, on the data set, present recommendations, writing all of that which I mentioned on some of these previous slides. Basically, combine all of that, drive an end-to-end project, and then you get it on a platform where that can be shared with others. Uh, there's a lot of business analytics cases in different industries. So technology is a very big one. E-commerce is a very big one where a lot of analytics has been done, but it's also being done in the healthcare sector, finance, banking, education sector. Uh, you just name it. Like any sector you name it today will have analytics. So there are different roles available. There are different opportunities available. You can work as a strategist, consultant, analytics professional. This just keeps on growing and growing day by day. uh, in healthcare, it's also becoming pretty important because now the patients, they don't want to wait in terms of hospital care. So a lot of hospitals and clinical institutes are using queuing theory and analytics to decide to capture data to see how many patients are coming in a day, what time of the day, what day of the week, and they are using all that data and all the analytics in their staffing routine. So like how many nurses we need in a day, how many doctors we need in a day. All of that decision is being driven through analytics right now in the healthcare industry. Marketing advertisement, very big example, like TV ads, commercial ads, email advertisements or email marketing campaigns is driven through analytics. Customer data is being captured through the companies. Of course, like the customer is consenting the company to use their data, and then that is being used by different companies to have targeting marketing strategies. So suppose I'm a big tennis fan, uh, I will get a bunch of emails from Tennis Warehouse. Hey, we have new shoes coming out. Are you interested in these shoes? All of that is driven through analytics. Uh, so any sector you name, these are just like two or three examples I mentioned. Any sector in today's world, you name, like analytics is just going over the roof right now. So there's a lot of demand, a lot of opportunities to uh, pick and perform in any sector. Uh, how would you go from an entry level to a mid level? So the way I phrase this is that, like, based on the business problem. On entry level, like the business problem is already defined, and the focus is pretty much on like descriptive analytics uh, and automation. So you have cadence reports coming out, and you want to get rid of those cadence reports. So to basically make sure time is being saved, and you don't have to run each of that reporting each day. So that automation part comes into the play, and a lot of analytics tools and technologies are being used to automate uh, same sort of reporting which is required each day. Uh, when you move towards mid level, the problem statement is vaguely defined. It's not clearly defined, and it's not at a point where it's not defined at all. You're basically given a hint. Once you're given a hint, you have to take that forward, write your own problem statement, develop a plan, and then deliver on it. And when you move toward a senior level, uh, there is no problem statement defined. You define the problem statement for the company because the company expects you to deliver results for them. So you're basically analyzing, seeing business operations, picking up ideas and opportunities, writing an action plan, using analytics, and delivering recommendations out of it. So that's the main distinction, I would say, for entry to senior level. But it really varies also on like the type of org you are or how big the org is. Next one I had was what after business analytics. Uh, this is a very interesting topic, and a lot of people want to break on this call, want to break into the field of business analytics. But once you are a seasoned professional, once you are like suppose a few years into the industry, you have a plethora of avenues or opportunities awaiting for you, and that is in the field of like data engineering, data scientist, product manager, and then technical program manager. These four are the most common paths which you would see a business analyst taking after a few years in their career. Data engineering is more focused towards uh, data warehousing, making sure how the upstream data is coming, how we are capturing it, creating it into foundational tables where the customers can use it, pre-process it, and take it to the next level. Data scientists are building machine learning models, for example, regression models, ANOVA models, hypothesis testing. All of that is being done by data scientists, clustering algorithms. A lot of algorithms and like techniques are here are used for by them to build those models and put it into production. Once you put it into production, the end customer is using it. So any application you use on your mobile phone is basically has a model behind it. So it's driven through machine learning model. Software development engineers are taking it and then applying it to your phone or the end service. Uh, Product manager is a big one also because at the end of the day, like each company sees their BI team as a product, and you want to make sure like whatever services or product the company is offering, you're able to market that and drive revenue and sales behind it. Technical program manager, you are basically getting more towards the tech part of it. So you are overseeing the responsibilities of different teams, not making sure your team members are not working in silos and working as a team together to deliver the end results. So these are the four common paths. Of course, there are other paths which analyst tends to take as they grow into the career, but these four are like very common, which you would see 80% of the analysts taking. Uh, so my lessons learned, and I would try to like be quick on this. We're closing on an hour, so leveraging opportunities, making sure like you have the best uh, experience. So like whatever opportunities coming to your table or whatever is coming your way, make sure you make the most out of it. Focus on continuous learnings. The field of analytics is only growing day by day, and it's not going to stop. Like generative AI is coming, chat gpt is coming, tomorrow something else will come, and then you'll have to just master and hone that skill so you can be towards continuous improvement and learnings, uh, to make sure you are adaptable towards the industry. So just learning one single language is not going to help you for the next 5-10 years. You have to be constantly evolving and learning as per the needs and demands of the industries and companies behind you. Seeking mentors is pretty important. A lot of times you will be in situations where you don't know what's the right thing for you, and that's completely fine. Uh, I still have a mentor, and I used to have a mentor 10 years back also. So I was I'm very fortunate in a way where where I could lean on those mentors to make sure if I can completely discuss the problem with them, discuss all the possible solutions, and take the best one for me. So make sure like if you have any mentor, if you don't have any mentor, you try to get one, and set up some time with them on like monthly, bi-monthly, whatever, 1 or 2 months you meet to check in to make sure you're making progress towards your career goals and aspirations. uh, Teamwork, as I said, is pretty important. I played tennis at a very young age, and I played and competed for a team. uh, that skill I was able to translate into the field of analytics and work as a team. And this will only get important and important. Any business setting, any academic setting, you are working together as a team. You're contributing as an individual, but you are working in a team. So making sure uh, the entire team's needs and everything is met. Next one is international exposure. I think this is a pretty important learning experience in my journey, at least. I think at 18, I left India to pursue my undergraduate education and then stayed here for the last 9, 10 years. And that has been a very, very important journey in terms of learning. So not only like uh, tennis or like not only like analytics, but also like day-to-day learnings of like normal skills, basically meeting different people, building those connections with different people in different parts of the world. Like I remember my tennis team had like seven different have people from had team members from seven different countries, and even my current team at Amazon has at least 10 or 20 10 or 20 people from between 10 to 20 people from different countries and different continents. So uh, we're only going to learn from them, learn more about like how different people operate, how they are putting their putting their personal preferences and differences aside, and then coming together to work as a group and deliver upon projects. So any setting, this becomes very, really important. And in my experience, I was very fortunate because I got exposed to this at a very early age. uh, Develop your personalized routine. The routine which I have is not going to be the same for everybody. So just making sure like you are doing what is required for you. Have a good roadmap of what you're going to do in the next 3, 6, 9 months. Uh, how are you going to get there? If you don't get there, why wouldn't you get there? Just focus on the why. Like if I did not get there, why didn't I get there? And how can I get there? So that why becomes really important. Why did you get there? Why you did not get there? Both of them becomes really important. Uh, so that's pretty much. And then you put this on repeat and then keep on doing the same thing over and over again. Uh, and after some time, you will definitely have success, and you can build upon the success going forward. Uh, That's it. This is my last slide. I put this quote. I'm a very big fan of Jack Ma, who's a Chinese businessman, which says like today is difficult, tomorrow is much more difficult, but day after tomorrow is beautiful. Most people die tomorrow evening. So just based on like continuous improvement, making sure like if any challenges are coming, you're working towards it, and basically delivering on your goals. Anyway, I'm gonna stop speaking now. And I'm going to jump into the questions.
Let me quickly share my screen. You want
I'm trying to see how to stop sharing.
Ritwik, yeah, you want to stop sharing the screen?
Yeah, I can't find the bar. Hold on 1 second.
Must be on the top. First of all, I mean, like, it was really, really, really a very exciting session in the sense that you really broke it up. Most of the students, even yesterday in Devesh's masterclass, were also asking, you can actually see it on the top, Ritwik. I mean, like, I don't know, sometimes it really, I mean, like when you actually hover on the top, it drops down.
Yeah, I'm split up between 3 screens.
Let me try. Let me try and share mine. It may automatically drop yours.
Okay, I see it now. Maybe 1 second.
So, guys, I'm sure that the journey that Ritwik has shared. He's also shared a very clear roadmap. I'm sure that you all like the presentation so much that you really want a copy of this. Everything is going to be available as a video. This is being recorded. The video is going to be made available on our YouTube channel. The mail will be sent to you today itself with the video recording. And all those people who are staying until the end of this masterclass, they will also be receiving the certificate of participation. Now we are getting into the most exciting phase of this masterclass, which is the Q&A. I already have a lot of interesting questions. Let me tell you what we're going to do next in the next 30 to 40 minutes. It's very late for you, Ritwik, I understand, but I'm sure you'll be okay because
No, no,
I
all
can
good.
see.
I can keep going. It's fine. I can
Okay,
keep going.
wonderful, wonderful. I mean, like that's what great mentors and great people are. We really don't care about the time. What time what time is it for the day or the night? We're always up for it. So great. Thanks, Ritvik, for being a sport. So I think what we'll do, guys. See, Ritvik has clearly established that you do not need a technical background. Of course, you need some sort of mathematical inclination. He's also told you that how your journey is going to be right from business analyst, and you can also become a data engineer and program technical manager and whatnot later. But yes, it doesn't start with coding. But if you love coding, wow, wonderful, you can actually do wonders with data science and data engineering and big data and whatnot. But what is most important is that business analytics has two components to it. There's a management component, which involves understanding the problem. The core of this is like business problem solving. You understand a problem of your employer or yourself if you're an entrepreneur, and you're trying to find solutions using data. And to do that, you need to have that analytical bent of mind, that problem solving approach. And that is what has to be developed. I'm sure you already have that, but that has to be owned. And I think what Ritwik also establishes that you really need great mentors. Ritwik himself thanks mentors in his life who has helped him a lot. And even still, he said that he continues to consult with mentors. And I think, all this ideology, the entire, the roadmap, which includes access to great curriculum, access to great resources, the right motivation, understanding storytelling, understanding problem solving, understanding the tech behind business analysis and data science, and then, of course, the role of mentors. We have put all of that together, and which is why we have partnered with trainers and mentors like Ritwik, Devesh, Arjun from ExxonMobil, and so many other companies. Nandita is from Adobe. All of us together, we have come up with a boot camp. And that boot camp is business analytics and data science. And you can actually start from scratch. Like, like Ritik is talking about mathematics, like what geometry, what statistics, and what else you would be using when you actually, or calculus, how you will be using that as a business analyst. We'll talk about all of that. We have refresher courses before you start the boot camp. And the boot camp is basically 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online. You can also show this boot camp as a foreign internship. You will receive a lot of students from BTech, MCA, BCA, BBA, MBA have joined our boot camps. There are two options. One is Singapore and Malaysia, 8 days abroad in Singapore and Malaysia, and then you have 8 weeks online, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Uh, Mentors like Ritwik, they will be available on those sessions. You will do multiple projects. Like Ritwik said, that you have to build a portfolio even before you hit your campus placements. When you have this foreign internship or this foreign boot camp on your resume and the learning that comes across with it, you really stand apart from your peers and everybody else. Employers really sit up and look at you as a reasonable and a most desirable candidate. And of course, your own learning when you start interacting with mentors like these who really have that kind of experience in companies, and they also have been helping so many aspiring business analysts get their dream jobs in different companies. And when you're part of that international community, you'll be interacting with so many foreign students. Like there will be students from Singapore, Malaysia, India, and other parts of the world also in that boot camp. 30 to 40 people together for 8 days, and it really paves the way. It really makes you so motivated. Why we have this 8 days abroad first is because when you are in that in the company of such people you want to become yourself, and those are the people who are talking to you day in day out. Even night outs like these will happen uh, in those boot camps. You have 3 hour session in the morning, 3 hour session in the evening. You're going to university campuses, you're visiting Singapore, you're visiting UP and Malaysia. You're also going to startups, companies. You will be visiting Accenture office as well. And there's so many others. So you're visiting so many companies. You're visiting so many universities. There are cool hangouts where you go to, and the sessions are happening there. And then you come back, and the entire session and the program continues online as well. and we help you all the way. When you start this journey in this boot camp, maybe you don't know anything about business analytics or data science, and that's okay. But that we are going to help you, take you to the level where you're actually going to master this skill. So I think, Ritwik, you're also talking about a business case that you want to discuss. Is that going to take about 15-20 minutes? Do you want to do that today, or we get into the
Do you
Q&A?
have, I mean, we can do that. We could do take questions and then do that, like whatever,
Okay,
whatever.
cool. So before we get into the Q&A, I'm just going to run a brief video about this boot camp, and that'll give you an idea what you can expect. Let me quickly share my screen. Yes, of course, these boot camps are going to happen in July and August. Don't worry about your classes, because the first is like in July 10th to 17th. Um, a lot of students also would have their sessions and semester during that time, but then they have taken permission from their college and the university. We will help you get that permission if you want us to intervene. The colleges and the universities are actually open to considering this as your internship. Some of them are also open in accepting this boot camp as an elective course, which means you can drop a course in your college or university and you can showcase this business analytics data science as a course, and you can get credits for it from your university. You can speak to us, you can go to our website and you can apply. So before this, have a look at this quick 1-minute video. One sec, I think I just stopped this because I want to share with the video. Cool. With the sound. Okay. Sec. And yep. Goes. Fortunately, it doesn't allow me to ship multiple. No worries. Even if you're not hearing the sound, it's okay. So like you can go from 0 to pro, and I was talking about the business analytics. One is the boot camp in Singapore and Malaysia. You can see the dates, July 10 and 17. There's the first cohort. We also have a December cohort. So if you're interested in 8 to 15th of December, you can join that as well. Then you have August 14 to 21. In India, you have the 3 days off, 14, 15, and 16. There's a weekend involved there. So you definitely can really be a part of this. And the other one is in Amsterdam and Berlin. So this is not exact. You're not going to learn the whole thing in those 8 days. Of course, like I said, it's 8 days abroad and 8 days, 8 weeks online after that. So you can be a part of this. And these, why we have chosen Singapore and Malaysia and Amsterdam and Berlin, because these are the hubs for, because Amsterdam and Berlin is going to help you find more opportunities in Europe. Even if you want to settle in Europe and find more opportunities, this is the place. Amsterdam is very happening in terms of so many companies, startups, and that ecosystem. And of course, Singapore, you understand, is so very important. It's like the New York of the Southeast. So it's so important when you are in Singapore, you really would, and in Malaysia, you'll be able to build that network of professionals and communities and also find opportunities in those countries. Like I said, it's 8 days abroad and 8 weeks online. Anybody is open to applying. Like Ritwik said, you do not need any specific background to be a business analyst. You will gain a lot of international exposure. You'll master all the business analytics tools. Um, it's a case study based training. So you will see a lot of real life case studies and capstone projects and all of that. And like I said, you can also showcase this as an internship. Now, this is an important slide. You will be learning from top leaders in this domain. Some of them are going to be available in the boot camp. And then a lot of these people are going to take your sessions and your mentorship and your career counseling and everything online as well in the sessions. So you have Preksha from PDC, tremendous amount of experience. She's a role model for a lot of female students as well. Nandita is very popular. She has been very popular in mentoring a lot of students. Shruti is also, again, a great example of how she started with very humble beginnings. with no coding background, but today she is a great business analyst with Estri Microelectronics. We have Devesh from Fidelity, tremendous amount of experience. You heard, a lot of you heard him yesterday. Arjun brings in more than 2 decades of experience in data science. He is the person who has established Center of Excellences in data science and AI for so many companies. He has worked in Amazon and Vesco. And of course, we have Ritwik. He is such, you can see his prowess in this masterclass today yourself. He's so clear what exactly you should be doing. And these are the kind of mentors that you want to learn from. And so these are the people that you're going to learn from in this boot camp. And of course, this is going to put you in top 1% talent in your own domain. And this is going to be really fun boot camp. 8 days, when you're there, you're going to do a lot of sightseeing. You'll also be going to important places. Company visits will be happening. Startup visits will be happening. You'll also be visiting some in accelerators and incubators. You will be having a lot of AMAs, Ask Me Anything sessions with so many business analysts from, say, when you're in Singapore, from Singapore, when you're in Amsterdam and Berlin in Amsterdam. So all that, interaction and all that fun, this is going to be a life-changing experience. As a student, like when I was in IIT, I would have loved this experience. I'm not even, in my last 20 years, 15 years rather, in last 15 years, since I graduated, I have been to so many universities. And whenever I spend a summer at some university, it really brings me such enthusiasm, such fresh ray of hope, and such, and that's why we are so passionate at Edorer in bringing these international experiences and clubbing those international experiences with learning, because I definitely believe that really changes your personality big time. So we definitely look forward to seeing you there. I'll drop the, okay, and we will drop the link to this. I'm going to quickly share my screen for so you can find the website as well for this. One sec. Okay, so how you apply for this bootcamp? You can go to Edorer, click on bootcamps, and you will see all the international bootcamps that are available. These are like certification bootcamps. You will be certified by that university where you visit. For every visit that you go to a company, you will get that certification as well. You will also be given an internship certificate, a foreign internship certificate for this bootcamp. You can also do, if you're interested, you can also look at our immersion boot camps for startups, business, and innovation. These are just 7 days abroad. You can spend time there. Now, when you go to a specific boot camp and click on it, you will be able to see all the details. Okay, like what's the cohort, and all the other details, the program highlights, why you should be doing this, the exact curriculum, what you'll be learning, like we're talking about master classes, real world projects, ongoing mentorship, networking with business leaders, career coaching, and you will of course be a alumni for life. These are the skills that you're going to learn. I'm also going to take you through the curriculum quickly after this. You'll do foundational projects, you'll do capstone projects, you will be undergoing a lot of case studies in different verticals and domains that Ritwik was talking about. Like I said, it's open to everybody who is going to teach you, people like Ritwik and others I just showed. These are the people. You will be visiting university campuses, company offices, incubators, and cool hangouts. So this is a very unconventional boot camp. And we've also mentioned why Singapore and Malaysia. You should know how stepping into a foreign land from your own university campus, this is going to be so different. A lot of times, a lot of monotony happens, and that pitches in your college. 2 semesters, 3 semesters, 4 semesters, you have been on the campus. Of course, you're going to. Ritwik also said that just your degree is not going to help you build that career that you want. You need to have that real life experience. You need to be with the right people. You need to understand the latest skills and master them so that you can actually be more relevant in the domestic and international job market. So you can see here, you will have AI and data sessions, networking with AI leaders. You will have lunch with business leaders. You will have innovation tours, startup brunch. And whenever you're at these locations, you're actually learning some of the other concept in business analytics and data science from a different perspective. Okay, so the learning is not just in classrooms, it's everywhere. during this boot camp. You will do university tour and masterclass. You will, of course, visit Singapore's most innovative rooftop farming tours. You'll also visit Singapore's most iconic brewery. That's a great experience when you go there. There will be a lot of networking mixers. And during this boot camp, we take care of everything: your flights, your visa, your stay, your accommodation. I mean, like your stay, your food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything is taken care of. Even your sightseeing and going to multiple places and having a lot of fun, adventure thrillers, everything is taken care of. These are some past glimpses of students who have been abroad and who have taken the boot camp. Some FAQs for you, some key resources. Then, of course, you can see some testimonials on the website. The price is also mentioned. It is 1,50,000 for the entire boot camp, and it includes everything. This is an INR. For international audience, we also have a lot of international audience today. For international audiences, the price is USD 1,500. A lot of students in this masterclass are from Malaysia and Singapore. So for you guys, it's going to be 1,500 because you do not have to. And for Malaysian students, your flight is going to be taken care of when you go to Singapore. So in this USD 1,500. So don't worry about that. So you can really apply on the page, and our team will connect with you and will help you out. You can also pay in EMIs. These are no cost EMIs. So it's going to be just INR 833 for you when you actually opt for this program. And there would be a lot of bulk discounts. If your friends are going along, you'll get referrals when friends are going together. So you'll get all those benefits as well. So I'm going to drop this link and you can apply to this bootcamp, and we can take it. My team is going to speak to you. Okay, going to before we hit the Q&A, one more thing. A lot of students were also asking us, what's the program and the schedule like? So quickly sharing that as well. So this is, once you apply, you will receive this on email as well. And our team is going to share this with you. So this is the schedule of the 8 days abroad. Like you can see, 4 days in Singapore. Similarly, there's going to be for Amsterdam and Berlin as well. And once you apply for that, our team is going to share for that as well. So you'll start your breakfast at the hotel, then there's a welcome session, then Singapore sightseeing. Then you have the first session on business analytics, data science. Then, of course, in the evenings, you have Singapore outing and fun activity. Then you have in Kuala Lumpur, the same happens in the evening. And there are multiple sessions. And you can see you visit factories, you visit companies, you visit startups, and the sessions are happening there. There's an innovation tour. You also get to have AMAs where you can get a job and settle in Singapore. A lot of business analysts from Singapore, from different companies, would also be participating in the boot camp. So you learn from all those people, and that really helps. So these 8 days, you come back completely understanding the domain, being truly motivated to take up sessions online. And then the online sessions after that are 8 weeks, Saturday and Sunday, preferably 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. India time. And you will have, again, a lot of intense training and mentorship, AMAs, masterclasses, case studies, projects, capstone project, and everything. A lot of networking happens. And we will help you out throughout your journey. In these 8 weeks, will make sure that you are really coming out as a pro. And all those students who really fall behind because something, will have separate refresher sessions for them. So you will not feel like, okay, I don't really belong to this bootcamp, because some of them are really, more exposed to the domain. Don't worry about that. There will be specific refresher sessions for you guys. Let me quickly take you to the curriculum. So like Ritwik also said, the art of business analytics has two components to it. One is the management core, where you understand the idea behind problem solving. And the other is technical, wherein you understand the tools and the technology behind business analytics and data science. So you'll have different modules where you will start with understanding business and data analytics, business problem solving. You will understand data processing and cleaning. You will master Excel, which is so important, master SQL, which is so important. You will have a basic understanding of Python and how it helps in data science. Like Ritwik was talking about, EDA is so important. Exploratory data analysis. You will understand how this works. You'll also understand statistics. This is also so important for data science and business analytics. Ritvik also talked about descriptive analytics and predictive analytics. There will be a specific module on this. Uh, then data visualization using Tableau, Power BI, and QuickSights. Ritvik spoke about that as well. It's going to be part of your curriculum. You'll understand ML, machine learning, and data science. You'll understand the Gen AI tools and how those tools and no coding tools and no building those regression models yourself. There are tools and techniques available. How do you really use them? And then, of course, you'll understand applied analytics and how you get to data-driven decision making. And then the most important tool, this is something which no one is going to teach you in a course, online or otherwise, which is best practices and hacks. What these business analysts and data science leaders have been using, the mistakes that they make before they start a model, the mistakes that they make, like Ritvik was talking about, you will understand the run times. Like he just spoke about this. This is so important. Like, if you do not really understand runtime, you will not be able to understand the importance of time in coming up with business analytics. This is such an important insight, but this only comes with experience. And these are the kind of business hacks that you will learn in this module. And then the most important, which is the storytelling. Storytelling is so important these days in everything. In any domain, whether you're a manager, engineer, coder, or whatever, you need to understand how to build a narrative, build a story, and communicate with all stakeholders. Whether you're talking to your manager or your CEO or senior leadership, or a team of data engineers or a team of problem solvers, you should know, and that's why he spoke about your communication skills are important. And there'll be specific sessions only on these. How do you write great emails? How do you come up with great presentations? How do you come up with the right narrative? And how do you be more precise? Brevity is very important these days. You have to speak less, write less, show less, and be able to communicate more. And that's the art of storytelling. And we will talk about all of that, how this is so important as business analysts. And of course, you will have a capstone project. And then for those who really want to delve deeper, we will have separate optional modules for you guys after 8 weeks, which is going to be on data structure and algorithms, introduction to big data. Okay, and yes, let me scroll down further. Okay, did I miss anything? And there will also be modules on data engineering. And if you really want to delve deeper, maybe deeper AI and ML in business analysis and data science. So that's going to be there. I'm quickly dropping this and we'll start with the Q&A. Ritwik, you can see some questions being asked in the Q&A, and you can also see some questions in the chat. But before that, I would like to start with Rima's question. And I think it's a great question. She's saying, what's the difference between business analysts, business analytics, data scientist, and data engineer? Can you see this question in the chat? Rima.
Yeah, I can see it now. Okay. Good question. I think you can club data analytics and business analytics together. It's more or less means the same thing. It's just the naming convention which companies use. But at the same, I mean, regardless of if you are a data analyst or a business analyst, you are basically solving business problems using data. The distinction between business analyst, data analyst, or I should say with data scientist and data engineer is that in data engineering and data science, you are more technical. So consider like data engineering as like the person who's building out tables. So you are getting data from suppose a cloud or architecture or any upstream source. The data engineer is responsible for building out pipelines to fetch those data and get into internal tables. Now, once that internal tables is done, that's basically the role of a data engineer. So it's in a different format. It's in like a XML format, JSON files. Converting all of that into tables is what a data engineer does. Now, the next step is like once you have the data, you are pre-processing and cleaning that data. That's where the role of a business analyst comes, where they use that data which has been already captured, pre-process it, apply business rules to it, apply transformations, and pass it on to the next customers. Now, once that data is in a is in a format where it has been cleaned, pre-processed, the data scientists come into play where they are going to use that to create models. And models meaning like some of the models which sort of sort of just shared on the screen, like k-means, KNN models, clustering models, linear regression. All of that comes under like modeling. Basically, you're using data, training something, and then testing it, and then deploying it into production. So it's a very, very different. It's not very different. It's very interlinked, I should say. But there are certain differences where you're only focused on like building models. You're only focusing on like creating reports, pre-processing data, using that output to provide to end customers, while data engineer is just focusing on getting the upstream data. So there are certain differences, but it's very, very, very interlinkable between each other.
Okay, can we pick Siddharth Jaiswal's question, the last question in the Q&A, in the chat rather, sorry. I'm now doing an MSc in business analyst at Queen's University, Belfast. I would want to know what the future scope of the business analyst will be. Is there further impending potential as a business analyst? As I am now in the UK, I'm curious about the differences between the UK and the US markets, as well as where the opportunities are, India, the UK, or the US, in international
So
perspective.
yeah, it's a good question. I think there are no like I don't think that like the potential for business analysts is only gonna exceed and go over day. So like right now, as I said, like in my presentation, like there's a very big demand for it, and the supply for business analysts is very, very low. So it's only gonna increase. It's just gonna become more and more important, and it's gonna cater towards a certain section and a certain business problem. So like you will be very specific on like suppose you are solving a forecasting problem or you're solving like an automation problem. uh, in the in the coming time, business analysts would be expected to diversify and make sure like you can cater two or three different facets together. So basically, like you are working with multiple stakeholders, different two three teams which are doing completely different things, but all of them use analytics in some sort of way, and you can support them simultaneously. That's going to be the future scope, is what I'm getting towards. Differences in terms of UK, US, and India. Tech stack, there is no difference. So the technical stack, SQL, R, Python, whatever we talked about, whatever is in the curriculum for the boot camp, like it's the same tech stack across the globe. So no matter in what country you're sitting, where you are doing a business analytics professional, uh, 80% of the, I should not, 90% of the tech stack is overlap. So SQL, Python, R, visualization of a software is one of them, like Power BI, Tableau, QuickSight. uh, that's going to be the same no matter which industry or which company you work for. So I don't think there's a big difference between working anywhere because the tech stack is the same. And in my experience, like I also work with colleagues in UK and India, in Amazon, and we don't have any difference in terms of tech stack.
I think Siddharth has a follow-up question. Thanks. You can see it, right?
Yeah, I see it. I would suggest like if you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and then we can take this forward. If you are interested, maybe we can pursue that way.
And for the question on Edorer, we definitely will help you with our international network of business analytics and data science. And that's what we will anyways do for all the bootcamp participants. You will be able to participate and apply to all the international opportunities and opportunities in your own country through the network that you will be part of. Subhasish has a question. One more thing, sir.
Yeah, one more question is like, is Tableau or Power BI necessary for analytics purposes? The answer is yes. You need to know one of these visualization softwares, because majority of the dashboards right now, which is customer facing, is built on these in either one of these two softwares. QuickSight is also coming up and coming, but Power BI and Tableau are pretty prevalent in the industry. And you need, as a business analyst professional, you need to know one visualization software where you can build out graphs, KPIs, dashboards, where it is where it is usable in a format by the end customer. And you have like filters, drop downs, they can download data, share data, slice and dice it in terms of filters. So it's very, yeah, one of them, like, you need to master a visualization software.
We can take up the Q&A as well now. I'll just filter some questions from the chat. We
Yeah.
4 questions, three, in fact, yeah, 3 questions there.
So, okay, so there's one question which says, in what ways can analytics be utilized in real time to predict and manage public safety incidents, optimizing deployment of emergency services? Very great question, uh, which is being asked. So, there was a recent case study by Apple, which came across in across LinkedIn. I was reading this as an article somewhere, uh, that a person, this was, I think, somewhere in the US. The person was wearing an iWatch. He was working out in the gym, and he fell down as an accident, and he was unconscious for some time. Because of the impact of what he fell down and the impact on the iWatch, the iWatch sensors could identify it and could call 911 emergency services at the spot.
Excellent.
Uh, that is the power of like machine learning, data science, and analytics, of like basically with the impact and the destruction which happened on the watch, they could identify the sensors, uh, see it as an emergency because of the impact, and then call the 911 service, and the patient was able to be at the hospital at the right time. So this is one example where you are using all those like deployment machine learning models which we're talking about, deploying it at the end customer, and end customer is using it for like a safety purpose. Uh, another example is where you have like alarms. So you have fire alarms and smoke alarms. All of those are basically linked with some sort of models which basically trigger at the nearest fire station, so that a fire truck can be released. So that's also like a very big implementation or usage of analytics, or machine learning, I should say, in general. That's more important, and analytics part comes like after that, where these applications are being used in day-to-day services. Next question is that I'm in a mechanical engineering field, good field. I'm in a mechanical engineering, which field in data analytics? I want to be an ML AI engineer after doing job in data for 1 or 2 years. So again, good question. Jump from data analytics to ML engineer or AI engineer is possible. I think I mentioned in one of my slides also, like business analytics is a stepping stone. Once you start your career on that, you can always pivot towards it. ML ops and machine learning and AI engineer is just considered at one level above data scientists. So at that point of time, you're really putting machine learning models into like real time production. So you're not only building out models, but also you're also putting in production. So, and what I mean by putting in production is basically at the end customer is using it, and you're using results from it to derive decision making. So it is possible. 1 or 2 year roadmap, if that's the goal which you want to set. You have to have aggressive uh, goals and objectives for yourself of what you want to achieve to get there, because the jump from a BA to a AI engineer is very big. uh, Normally, it would take a little bit more time, but 1 or 2 years, if you want to do that, you need to have very set goals and routine, so you can get there.
I think we missed Sibashish Day's another question. I think before that, you can take this question from Syed. How business analytics is beneficial for management students? I mean, BBA and MBA students. So that's his question. How BBA and MBA students can become business analysts?
Yeah, so there is a management concept to it. So like a lot of so in a lot of MBA programs, like folks are also like specializing on the analytics field, uh, and the and the way they can benefit is that so MBA professionals normally move into like management roles where they are uh, catering team members and also like mentoring team members, so they manage a team. For an MBA professional, it is very, very important to know what their team is doing. So suppose they are a manager of like a team of analytics people. They need to know like what analytics that their team is doing so they can go and allocate budget, headcount, talk to their senior managers and leadership to communicate what their team has been doing and basically do performance reviews. Uh, that is a very, very big application where at the management level, at the MBA level, where you're managing a team, you need to know like the ins and out of analytics of like how you can like basically cater and develop your team members and essentially hire people, right? Other important thing I would say is that even at uh, even at the MBA's programs, you would see a lot of focus is on visualization, making charts, visualizing trends, graphs, and all of that. That is a part of analytics where you are creating trends, creating plans, forecast, all of that, and presenting it into a visually appealing format, which is basically uh, dashboard or like graphs. So graphs and stuff can be automated in Excel also. So they need to know all of this, like what is a bar chart, what is a box plot, outlier detection. Concepts around this is very, very important when you're dealing with data. So suppose you have a data set of like very few sample size and there are a bunch of outliers there. You need to know how to remove those outliers to have a meaningful conclusion from that data set. So uh, long story short, there are multiple use cases. These are just like two use cases which I'm talking from a manager's perspective or an individual contributor perspective. But the list is long. Like you would need this in terms of any business setting.
And just to add to it, if you see, like, there are managers and management students in marketing, or let's say, even if you're running some HR function or you're into operations, even if you're not actually handling analytics professionals, you still, if you really understand data well, think about marketing people. In fact, in our own company, I have managers who have really done a course on business analytics and why they've done that. In fact, just think about this. There are thousands and thousands of people who are applying for master classes and boot camps and other programs that we run. We also need to understand, okay, what are best leads? We also need to understand, okay, this person, where exactly did he go? Did he go to a website? Did he get messages from us? Has he got WhatsApp messages from us? So there's multiple data around just one individual who is our customer, who started interacting with us. So my managers, or we as a company, we need to understand that data. We do run it across tools, and that gives a lot of insights to our own team. So even if you're into digital marketing or you are handling marketing in general, you because every product today will have a web page, and you should know how your consumers are interacting with it. You will have some form, you will have some sort of outreach that you will do, and that could really go big. I mean, talking about companies who have an outreach of from 1,000 to 10,000, people interacting with your product. You need to understand business analytics. You need to know how to interact with the data, filter out people, get more positive potential leads, so you can start interacting with them. So that's just one thing. Similarly, it can happen in the case of operations. Similarly, it can happen with uh, engineers. Engineers who are coding, who again try to solve business problems for their companies, they again, like Ritwik has also established, they also need to address data. Similarly, it can happen with any professionals in agriculture, BSc students. In fact, Devesh also spoke about this yesterday, wherein you just have to predict a few things. You do a lot of predictive analytics. You do a lot of uh, soil analytics. You do a lot of weather analytics. You do a lot of production analytics. So at the end of the day, like we have established, this is such a staple skill. One, it can actually help you master and be better in your current domain. Two, if you really want to switch from your current domain to a full-fledged business analyst or a data science in a data science role, you can actually depend on this completely without the background, without your class 10, 12 percentage, English, vernacular, whatever background, discipline, it really doesn't matter. If you're really motivated to build, to master the skill and build a great career in this domain, you can start from any day with any background. So talking about switching, there is one question which Subhashish has been asking a lot. How can I shift from web development to business and data analytics in the future?
Yeah, I think we have answered this. Like, I think there is no like secret sauce to like switch. Like, you need to get into these some of the skills which we talked in this class today, like SQL or Python, like storytelling, soft skills, tech skills. So anybody with any background or like any current professional, if you want to switch into the field of analytics, or what skills do you need? Like, these are the most important skills, or the 90% of the skills which will help you get into or break into this field. So it's a combination of the tech skills which we talked about today, SQL, R, Python, visualization skills, and also like the soft skills, art of storytelling, presenting, writing, problem solving. All of that is pretty important. So anybody can shift, no matter what is your background, no matter what is your past educational experience, how many years of experience you have. None of that really matters. Uh, the correct time to start is right now. So if you are really motivated to start, like, today should be your first day. Like, there are bundle of resources out there, uh, and then a lot of like help and mentors and all of these things is out there. So there's not really an excuse to keep you holding or to keep you back, which you cannot start the your part to analytics.
And your first step could be just applying for the bootcamp, because then you
Yep.
are straight away being connected to a very specific roadmap, the best mentors, and you will be in the great company to actually learn this. I think, Manish, you also have a similar question. We have really answered this, how to become a business analyst. I think you just apply. You can just revisit this video. We'll be sharing this video with every participant, and you will get your answer. Like, what are the skills? He actually gave a real presentation. Maybe you just joined a little late, which really spoke about all the skills required to be a business analyst. So
And also, like, to add to that, like the way the bootcamp is like faced is has modules which takes you from like step one to the two, three to four. Like, it's a very sequential way where you need to know some things at the first, and then carry and then build upon it. uh, so that has also been kept in mind. So you're not really like thrown into like, okay, you have to like start coding in Python from day one. Like, that's not the expectation. It's done in a way where you start from the very basic and then work your way towards up. And also, like, if you need more time to like grasp those things, like, and grasp the concepts, like, folks will help you out. And like, we will have materials and resources which you can refer back after the class is done, or like whatever, like whenever you need it. Suppose you need to prepare for your interview and stuff, like, you will have that resources with you in hand.
absolutely, which I mean, like, it's so important. Like, all of you will be hitting campus placement sooner or later. Like Ritvik said, you will be able to build this skill. We are with you all the way throughout this journey. We'll help you with starting from scratch. You have a great curriculum. You have great modules in place. These are the modules, like Ritvik said, which these are taught around the world, irrespective of which university or country you're from. You actually take the same path. And this is what you're going to take in this boot camp. And then we will be there to help you out with whatever difficulties that you face. A difference between just doing it yourself, going to internet resources, finding it on some free YouTube videos, or online courses, which are more like synchronous courses, which means pre-recorded sessions. The difficulty in those, in that format of learning is that you do not, because when you actually look at some content, you may have questions. And if you are not able to, get those questions addressed then and there, it really piles up. And it piles up to an extent that you start losing interest in that domain. And which is why having the mentor right then and there, having the person right there, that's why we have so many AMAs almost every other day. You have live sessions. You meet these people in person, and you basically keep solving your queries throughout the journey. So you have a very clear mindset, a very clear understanding of all the modules. If you're falling behind, we have refresher modules for you separately from the main course. So we make sure, and that you are really on your journey, you're really on track, and you're really getting the real outcomes that really expect from this bootcamp. So guys, you can actually go and you can apply. uh Ritwik, do we see some questions that we can take, maybe next just last 2-3 minutes before we wind up this session?
Yeah, there's one question which is I think is a very good question. Can I start my career in data science as a fresher? I like the second part of this. If possible, how much time is it enough to land a job? So this question gets asked to me a lot of times, how much time it will take me to land a job. There is no real answer to this, or there's no like nobody can give you a definite answer. The answer is within yourself. You have to define your own roadmap. If you want to get a job in the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, if the shorter time frame you're looking to get a job, the more amount of time, more amount of effort you have to put in on a daily or a weekly basis to do all those modules and curriculums to basically scale up or speed up. So again, like there is no secret sauce. There is nothing like which will just and somebody can tell you, hey, we can get your job in 2 months. It doesn't work like that. It really depends on your will, your passion, for how much you're willing to learn and how quickly you're willing to move forward.
Absolutely. Like, that's why we have structured also this in a way where in 2.5 months, you basically go from zero to a very comfortable level and understanding this. And of course, then you are actually on a self-learning map. I'm like everybody, like including me, Ritwik, and everyone else you'll see, we all are we are self-learners for life. Because it's never going to happen that you would say, oh, I am a pro and I know everything in business analytics and data science. You continue to learn because every field is evolving so much. But I think what is more important is that you will know where to find that learning. Because with all that interaction, with all this communication, with all this feedback and insights, you will know where do successful people in this domain, how do they upgrade themselves. And that's the most important thing that you should be doing, irrespective of which stage of you are in your career ladder. So I think it was a great session. I personally liked this session a lot because Ritwik really broke this down for even a young student, somebody who just has no understanding of business analytics and data science. He really made us go through the journey, what the skills needed, what's the roadmap, how we can actually do this. And if you wish to continue your journey and you connect with Ritwik, you can actually reach out to him on LinkedIn. Plus, you can also be a part of the bootcamp. And of course, you will keep meeting him and keep receiving his mentorship throughout the next 3 months of the bootcamp. Uh, so everyone, like I said, you will receive a video recording of this session. Plus, you will also receive your certificate of participation for this masterclass within 24 hours. So Ritwik, it was a pleasure having you here in this session. It's really late night for you. Uh, but tomorrow is Monday, right? You're working there tomorrow.
No, tomorrow is Sunday for me, so I'm good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so sorry. Yes, it's 12.5 hours behind you. So he is still early Sunday. You're still an early Sunday. Enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. And we really look forward to receiving a lot of learning and insights from you ahead.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you for everybody listening to me. It was very nice connecting with each of you. I will hopefully see a lot of you in the boot camp. Would be nice to connect again and then continue our analytics journey together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next masterclass. Thank you so much.